What's up, guys? It's Johnny Candido of Candido Training HQ. Today's topic is if 100 men could kill a gorilla. You may have seen this topic floating around the internet, and honestly, I've been making videos for over 12 years now, and this is probably the single most important subject I've touched on. So before we get into the final answer, and this is going to be clear-cut, is we need to talk about some of the misunderstandings that have been going around. The first one is the idea that a gorilla is 8 to 10 times stronger than a person, the idea that a gorilla could lift 8,000 pounds. And the real thing that no one's talking about is the replication crisis in the exercise science community, let alone in the zoology community. Let me see a gorilla actually do it. Where's the footage? Where's the proof? I've never seen it and I don't believe it. And frankly, I would now want to know what position they could even do it in. So first of all, I'm highly skeptical of the gorilla strength data. That's the starting point. And frankly, they're not 8 to 10 times stronger than a person. They're not going to squat and deadlift, 3,000 pounds. I asked ChatGPT how much it would deadlift and squat, and it's just bullshit. Load it up. I want to see a gorilla do it. You know they won't. They can't even walk it out properly, let alone balance it, let alone handle the oscillation of the bar. But beyond that, one thing a lot of people are neglecting is that gorillas are manlets. Look up their average height. Some of them are under 5 feet tall. It's Brett Gibbs. How are they going to attack us or kill us at 100 men? But then the main issue, in all seriousness, is the body weight. Is 300 to 500 pounds versus 100, 200-pound men. You're talking a difference in just total meat that is insurmountable. And that's one thing that when it comes to powerlifting and even fighting, frankly, people always downplay. They always downplay. Bradley Martin does have a point when he says he's 260. That is hard to overcome as much as people love to dunk on him. And obviously a professional fighter could overcome it. But we're not saying 1 man or 10 men. We're saying 100 men. It wouldn't even be close to possible. One Ray Williams is already as heavy as one silverback gorilla. I've interviewed 2 men, Ray Williams and Ashton Ruska. I have a unique perspective of 2 men who are probably the most similar in strength and size that pretty much exist naturally compared to a gorilla. So with that experience, I would say I have a unique perspective to say the gorilla has no chance. And even if I were in there, I would go after its knee. I'd probably be able to tear maybe one ACL, maybe bite an ACL, maybe do some surface skin level damage. I don't know, but I know I'd have tenacity. But the main point being is that I do think people are truly delusional if they think 100 men could not beat one gorilla. And they're delusional if they don't realize that the scale of animals is just always proportionate to size way more than people think in terms of threat. People always underestimate how dominant a rhino is in comparison to something like a tiger, and how dominant an African elephant is in comparison to a rhino. So if you had 100 men versus a rhino, that may be a rhino. Maybe rhino. If you have 100 men versus an elephant, then that may be infinite as far as no tools. But obviously the ancient version of us did beat those woolly mammoths. But in closing, I think also one thing people underestimate as a millennial, and many have had similar experiences of being live leak veterans, is the length it takes for a person to actually be killed by an animal is always going to be longer than people expect. So again, I would say 100 men versus a tiger would honestly be very easy for the men to win as long as they could, catch the tiger. Because even to kill one person is going to take way longer than people expect. Like I said, I wouldn't know based on seeing any videos or anything, or logging on to LiveLeak when that did exist and being traumatized by anything like that. But if I did, I would guess that it takes longer for people to die than people expect. That's it, guys. Make sure to like the video, support the channel, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you personally want to build up strength in order to be able to contend with at least a smaller monkey, then join the Candido Forever program and increase your lifts as much as possible. That's it, guys. Peace.